Ooh, that stings a little bit. It's finished here at Villa Park. Aston Villa 4, Newcastle United 1. And this is the last word. Yes, welcome back to the last word for Newcastle United's defeat here at Villa Park. Aston Villa winning by 4-1 before we get Lee and Sam's thoughts this afternoon. Here's a little word from Lee about our sponsors for this video, Match Bingo.
So over 200,000 has been paid out already to players so far by taking sports betting, football and bingo, combining them into one brilliant app. Make sure you get your bingo card for the Ipswich game coming up next week. Click through the link in the description or see the QR code on your screen, scan that and that'll take you to the app. Bingo cards for this game are you buy 4 and you get 1 free.
Yeah, so make sure that you click the QR code that you see on your screen as well, and the link will be in the description for Match Bingo as well. So make sure, obviously, probably had a lot of points from an Aston Villa perspective for Match Bingo, but it is what it is regarding that. Lee and Sam are here for the last word. Sam's just put the match reaction out, so make sure you give that and watching. If you can like and subscribe to Newcastle Fans TV, that'd be greatly appreciated. Lee, start with you. We'll look at team news. Unchanged once again. Again, pretty straightforward.
It's easy to say that in hindsight now because the game's happened. But yeah, you can see why it's unchanged, but you're asking the team to play 3 games in a week. Look, I don't think we lost because we're leggy. I think we got beat because we're clearly the second best team on the pitch today, individually and as a team. But can't really say Anthony Gordon deserves to start because Harvey Barnes has been good. Jacob Murphy before today has been absolutely sensational the past couple of months. So, and Willock's not going to get it in that midfield 3. He's only getting in that midfield 3 if there's an injury. So, aye.
From an Aston Villa perspective, Sam, they obviously are very, very strong in a lot of different areas of the football pitch. You look at their bench, it's incredibly strong as well.
Well, the worst thing is they've got players with points to prove.
They do, but who was the one player, if you had to pick one player, that was the one that you were probably thinking, got to keep him quiet?
Oh, Watkins, because I just said they have players with points to prove, and he is the one with the point to prove. He could have had a hat-trick in the first half. With Rashford coming in, that's put his nose out of joint when you see Duran leave. And I mean, look, as Lee said, we were second best all over the park. It was very, very disappointing. You'd hope to be a bit more competitive, but we just never got into the game. We were fortunate to get our goal when we did, to be honest.
Yeah, we really will. We'll start with you. 30 seconds in, it's 1-0 Aston Villa. You're thinking, that's a long way to go. It's to go 1-0 down after 30 seconds, but John McGinn plays the ball into the path of Ollie Watkins. I think, obviously, there's a couple of people shouting for an offside in the way, but he comfortably onside. And Watkins' shot is deflected by Fabian Schar, and it's nothing that Nick Pope can do. It's 1-0. It's the worst possible start.
Awful start. Very fortunate from a Villa point of view. Very unfortunate for us because Nick Pope saves that. I don't think it's the world's most powerful shot, to be honest with you, but it's an awful start. You're 1-0 down and you played 30 seconds, and it's a case of, right, the only positive to come from that is it's so early. You've still got another 90 minutes to go on and kick on and react to it. And I know you want to talk about Fabian Schar's goal, but there wasn't any reaction for me.
Yeah, I think obviously we'll talk about the goal in due course, but I think Ollie Watkins caused Newcastle so many different problems. Fabian Schar and Dan Burn have been absolutely outstanding, but Watkins had them on string, really. He really, really did. He was pulling them to either side and making it very, very difficult. And if it wasn't for the crossbar, Lee, Watkins would have made it 2-0.
Yeah, that would work 3 times during that game.
That was in the first 5 minutes as well.
I think credit where it's got to be credit. Yakazuma Emery spotted that I've been seeing the past few videos that Trippier has been brilliant. Fabian Schar, he's formed to come back. But he's targeted those two, splitting them, getting in between. But not just that, it was a couple of things where the passes just across the floor were taking out all of our midfield 3. That's like, you cannot allow that, man. Where's our midfield? It just literally just took out our midfield 3, and then you've got Watkins against Trippier and Fabian Schar numerous of times. It was asking for another one to come.
Yeah, it really was. Obviously, Watkins had a header which hit the crossbar, and that could have been, I think, 2-1 at that point. But we did equalise, Sam.
Yeah.
Fabian Schar getting the goal. Harvey Barnes, lovely cross down the left-hand side, right to the back post. And Fabian Schar's first ever save by Martinez, but it comes straight back out to him, and he puts it in back of the net. He's made it 2 in 2 seasons, if you like. There, 3 goals in 2 games. Three goals in 2 games here at Villa Park. Great to get the reaction in terms of making a 1-1, even if it was against the run of play.
Yes, and you were hoping that that would kind of spring us into life. I mean, we did grow into the first half and kind of improve throughout the opening 45, but we were still second best at that point, and we had some chances, but Martinez wasn't made to work, and he wasn't meant to work for the entire game. As we said in the match reaction, he's picked the ball out of the goal once, and that's his day. He hasn't had a save to make. He hasn't been tested. It was as comfortable. It'd be feeling hard done by that he hasn't earned his clean sheet bonus tonight. But yeah, we got the goal, and you're hoping, right, let's spark us into life, because when we get one, others tend to follow. But it just wasn't happening. There was something in the air tonight. You could tell it just wasn't going to be our day.
Yeah, I wouldn't say the first half petered out, but it was a case of
Newcastle had that shot, didn't
I was just going to say Newcastle did have a little bit of moments if we're looking from a Newcastle perspective. Tonali's shot was saved by Martinez, which you'd expect him to make that save, if we're being really honest. Livramento was getting into good positions, and I think even Bruno had a chance just inside the box, which went over the crossbar. Newcastle did have their moments, but you always thought that Villa, with the pace that they have, in particular, Morgan Rogers for me and Yuri Tillmans, I think, like I said, I know Watkins was probably my man of the match today in terms of what he gave Aston Villa, but Tillmans, Rogers, far too much space.
Every single one of those Villa players done better than Newcastle United individually as a team. Every single one of them. Every single one of them. And I think Nick Pope's the best player, bizarrely, and he's conceded 4. No one else, and that's a low score by Nick Pope, by the way. Yeah, it could have been more. It was just, even at half time, I think myself, we are very, very lucky to go in at half time here, like at the scores level, because we didn't deserve it.
No, we didn't. In second half started Sam, we think, how can Newcastle not necessarily respond, but how are they going to cope essentially with Villa's threat? Obviously, they're kicking towards the whole end in the second half. It's obviously they're equivalent of Gallagher and Newcastle. And we were saying after 60 minutes before Villa got their second, it's coming. Yeah. It's coming. You can smell it in the air, as you mentioned just before, in terms of your analysis of the first half. It's coming. And Nick Pope's had to make a really good save from John McGinn. Yes, it's maybe a little bit straight. I mean, almost handball goalkeeper like, if you want to describe it as that. But it was coming.
Yeah, it was. And again, no complaints. We weren't able to get a foothold in the game at any point. The second half was very, very disappointing. And whether or not you can put that down to a 3-game week with the squad being so thin, I'm not so sure. We were able to take players off pretty early on against Palace in midweek. It's just very, very disappointing and pretty lacklustre, to be fair. We couldn't get Isak into the game at all today.
I thought he was poor today, but again, he scored 20-odd goals. He can have an off day.
Exactly. I mean, he's had to come deep at times, and when he picks the ball, he looks lively, like something's going to happen. But in terms of getting service to him, there was nothing. Murphy couldn't find him whatsoever. Murphy was poor today. Yes, we praise him because he's been phenomenal of late, and he has. I love his cheeky smile, but today he was poor.
He was.
The same with Harvey Barnes. Did Gordon really change anything when he came on? No. The battles out wide, we were second best, which really we shouldn't be, because it's Matty Cash and a guy called Ian.
Well, a guy called Ian did make it 2-1, unfortunately.
You've made us laugh.
Imagine freaking losing to a guy called fucking Ian.
Anyway, Ian Maatsen did make it 2-1, and again, Villa carving us up really, and Watkins, who involved again heavily, plays a lovely little pass with Maatsen on the outside, and he has that chance one-on-one with Nick Pope, and he buries it. It's 2-1. You're thinking, damn it.
Did Fabian Schar see the one who clipped the ball?
That's for another goal.
Oh, is that the next one? You know what I'm like, goals.
Yeah.
Look, it's good finish, and again, I can't really fault Nick Pope for that. 2-1 doing, you probably think, yeah, they deserve it, but again, you still got plenty of time to come back and react to it. I don't know what to say, Johnny, because it's like, I think this is the first time this season that we've actually been beaten comprehensive.
Oh, no, Bournemouth.
What worse?
Bournemouth, Manchester City.
What worse than this?
Bournemouth.
I think this.
Bournemouth looked like freaking Real Madrid.
I reckon today was better.
Bournemouth looked incredible. Let's not have short memories. Bournemouth were phenomenal. Oh God, yeah.
I think this is the worst.
I don't really like talking about Newcastle defeats, so if we can bring it back.
After Bournemouth, we were going bloody hell.
I think
3 cheers
today,
for Bournemouth.
I think today it could have been 7 or 8, and that's not me over exaggerating today.
Yeah.
That's how good Villa were.
It's because we always thrash them at St James's that they have a point to prove, don't they?
Watkins got a hat-trick in the first half, but we'll move on to the third goal. And Sam, you look at this, you're thinking, right, can Newcastle get another comeback and then 2-2, maybe even sit back and just take the point and go back home and take the point that we probably don't deserve. But that was never going to be the case when Villa made it 3-1 very, very quickly. And it was unfortunate that it had to be Dan Burn in terms of the own goal. But when Villa can bring on the players like Jacob Ramsey and Amadou Onana, who we're going to mention very, very shortly, Ramsey's cross unfortunately hits Dan Burns' heel and it trickles past Nick Pope and it's 3-1. And that, if it wasn't game over before, even at 2-1, it was definitely game over at that point.
Yeah, it absolutely was. I mean, whenever we go 2-1 down, you kind of never write us off because we have goals in our team, and it's never really one of them where you count us out. But today there was just something about it that it just wasn't there. There was no spark. There was no final ball. There was no real impetus going forward, and it is what it is. I mean, normally we'd come out of a game like that absolutely tearing our hair out. Maybe you have, but
No.
we'd be tearing our hair out and be apoplectic with rage. But look, the season we've had, let's not, we've won a League Cup, so a defeat like this is our first loss since the FA Cup defeat to Brighton. So it's bad. We take our licks. We hold our hands up and say, yeah, fair enough, which we have done. They were beaten by the much better side on the day. And we just got to roll on and get back to winning ways at home to Ipswich next Saturday.
Yeah, you just got to roll with it, Lee, and obviously very, very quickly from 3-1, it was 4-1, and you talk about Fabian Schar deciding to do a little chip. Didn't do anything at all. As I can see, John Ruddy in the distance, the former Birmingham goalkeeper, the current Newcastle goalkeeper, probably on his way back to Norwich. I think that's where he lives, that's how he lives. But and also, let's just take it back to Onana. Poor for Newcastle. And
What's his name?
Exactly, Onana. But if it wasn't, Nick Pope made a fantastic save beforehand, but Newcastle didn't clear the lines, and unfortunately comes back out to Onana right on the edge of the box, right footed, no chance for Nick Pope, and that was 4-1.
Great, no, it's a great finish, but it could have been prevented with Fabian Schar just trying to clip it. But just going back to those two goals in the space of a minute or two apart, just killed the game. Even though we were still second best throughout the whole pitch, you're still a little bit of hope. If it's 2-1, think, right, okay, we can get a set piece, we might get a corner, we might have something lucky go our way, but 2 goals in 2 minutes, 3-1, it's game over, then. I mean, as Sam said, the subs didn't do anything, and it's 4-1, and it's lucky that it's only 4-1.
Yeah, very much so. It was very, very lucky it only ended 4-1 to Aston Villa. Very, very much deserved it.
Stu had some inquiry here, hasn't it?
No, that's very much so.
It's Birmingham.
How do you know that?
Because I've been there twice this season. That steward works at Blues as well.
Oh, there you go. The most famous steward around in Birmingham. But Newcastle did bring a lot of substitutes.
And loyalty around it.
Yeah, exactly.
Not even to the bin man.
No, Newcastle brought a lot of substitutes on.
Really?
Ooh, no, it's okay, don't worry. Newcastle did bring a lot of substitutes on, but it did absolutely no impact, and it did finish Aston Villa 4, Newcastle United 1. Jason Tyndall is still the man that is obviously taking the team in Eddie Howe's absence, and he has a lot to probably tell him about this defeat, and he'll probably have to make sure that he gets back to winning ways next week against Ipswich. But let's see what Jason Tyndall had to make of today's defeat.
Yeah, we did. We knew they would start fast. They've got an exceptional record here at Villa Park, and make it really difficult for teams. And we went one behind, but we showed great character to get ourselves back into the game. And then second half, we started the half okay, and with the goals we conceded, from our perspective, was a little bit disappointing. So we'll analyse them and correct that. But we can't take away the effort that the players have given throughout the season, and especially in this last week. It's been a real tough period for us, and probably the second half especially was maybe one step too far.
Thanks very much, Jason. Yeah, Lee, obviously very magnanimous in defeat. Obviously,
That's a big word.
Can't not be, can you?
Maybe you hang around with Sam today or something.
I have. But
Why? What's wrong?
Just a very big word.
But in all seriousness, Lee, obviously he's got no complaints. The better team, and we've all obviously said that this afternoon. How do we recover going into Ipswich?
Have to react. There's nothing about it. I was saying to Sam just off camera there. You're at home, a full packed St James's Park, and it's risking it. It's like all these Villa fans, but I'm not the camera flying. Apologies if you keep saying we're still in the worst place possible, but hi-ho. Look, you're playing against a side that's in the bottom 3. You're back at home. What more could you ask for? I think it's fortunate that fixture has fell, that it's Ipswich. So I would love Ipswich to stay up personally, but that's not going to happen. They have to bounce back and hopefully, touch wood, that Eddie Howe is back for the weekend. I don't know if he will be, but second best all round today. I cannot stick up for the lads today. It's not a performance that'll live long, put it that way.
You talk about, obviously, they say you can't really stick up for the lads, but I'll give you my opinion on maybe you can stick up for them because they've had a fantastic winning run. Today, yes, we were second best, but we said it in the match reaction, Sam. We've only really got 14, 50 players that you can rely on each week.
I get that. But to be fair to Lee, you take this game as an isolated thing when we do these videos post-match. It's still very raw. We've just come out of the game, and you take the game for what you've seen over that 90 minutes, not what you've seen over the past 6 weeks. Again, to your point, you're absolutely right. They've done ever so well. And they've had a lot of praise since the cup final. Well, since West Ham, and rightly so. But today it was an off day. But it's how you react. We're still third in the league, depending on what Forest do tomorrow. But
Monday night.
That's what I said. What Forest do Monday night. But look, it's how we go and react from here. We just remember we lost 3-0 here a couple of seasons ago. But what happened? We reacted. We bounced back, we progressed, and we got the Champions League place in the end.
Are you worried about Champions League, or do you think it's one of those things?
I'm not worried either way. We're in Europe. Whatever happens, it'd be nice to get Champions League. If we don't, I'm not going to cry about it. We've had an amazing season. We've had a season that none of us ever thought we'd ever see. So, no, I'm not worried about it. If we get it, great. If we don't, we don't.
Do you think it would be disappointing if we don't make Champions League from this particular position?
Yeah, I think any team would now, because if you look at Man City have obviously won today, Villa have won against a rival. What's interesting, Man City play Villa next. That's why next week is so important. We have to win that game, regardless of the performance, because one, or if not two of those teams, because they're playing each other, will drop points, so we'll have to win regardless. Forest, you don't know what they're getting. Obviously, we'll see them on Monday night against Spurs. Come on, you Spurs! Their form's not great. Chelsea are very much in transition. I think it will be for the next couple of years. It's still... It's 3 from 5, isn't it?
If you win your home games, it's a done deal, isn't it? So I mean, we should be beating Ipswich at home. We should be beating Chelsea at home. We've got a tremendous record.
If we don't beat Ipswich, I'll give you that answer next week.
Yeah, I think this is the Premier League table, as you can see on your screens right now. Newcastle, quite rightly, as Lee just said, are still third in the Premier League table. Forest have the game in hand, are 2 points behind, but they do travel to Spurs on Monday night. Manchester City beating Everton. They do face Aston Villa on Tuesday at the Etihad, which will be a really, really good game of football, let's be really, really honest. But, Sam, yes, it is 3 from 5, but we're still in a very, very good position. We're still in a strong position. And like I said in the match reaction, I still think we'll finish above these because of the fact there's only 5 games left, and they've still got to go to City. They've got
an FA Cup.
Exactly, that maybe distracts them a little bit.
Yeah, that's why I'm not overreacting to what is a pretty shambolic display today and a poor loss. But again, there's no need to panic. There's no need to get carried away. Like I say, it's been a tremendous season. It's still very much in our own hands. And considering the way we started the season, if you said it's in your own hands for the Champions League with, 5 games to go? Take that every day of the week.
Very, very much so. Just the last thing, Newcastle women take on Charlton tomorrow. You're making that trip. Obviously, 3 games left in the season. Obviously, you're going to try to finish as high as possible. Just a brief word on that particular trip that you're doing tomorrow.
I'll be doing a live watch along inside the valley because I've got press, so straight in with my car. So do join us, and then we'll put the vlog on NFTV Extra. But to be honest, I just want that Women's Cup match to come now because I want to get away from you, to be honest with you. Because Villa fans surely let you know that they've won. So good luck tonight, Sam.
Yeah, very much so.
That's no different from when. I mean, look, we have the greater yield over these down the years. So I mean, I didn't quite understand why they were singing 4-1 on your big day out. This is not a big day out.
Our big day out was at Wembley. What happened when we were at Wembley?
Yeah, anybody who's under the age of 30 hasn't seen Aston Villa win a trophy. So
exactly. Newcastle won the Carabao Cup against Liverpool. Just in case you forgot about that. But let's wrap things up there. Newcastle United, yes, maybe back down to earth a little bit. But Champions League football is still in their own hands. Before you finish up as well,
it might be a kicking up the arse that we need.
Maybe.
Yeah, not a bad thing. Just a sharp reminder that maybe you're not as good as you think you are. And just reins in that focus ahead of Ipswich, where hopefully Eddie Howe will be back in the dugout.
And it's a perfect opportunity to bring Gordon back in now.
Maybe. Let's see what happens. Let's see what the team news is. And let's hope that Eddie Howe is in that dugout for that game against Ipswich next Saturday, 3 o'clock kickoff. But yeah, Champions League football is still in Newcastle's hands. The gap has shortened. It's going to be a very, very exciting end to the Premier League season for Newcastle United. Like and subscribe to Newcastle Fans TV. Big thanks to Lee, big thanks to Sam, and we'll see you all at Ipswich next Saturday.